spirit of reconciliation, I acknowledge the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Island peoples today. Welcome to Totally Lit, the podcast celebrating reading, writing and creating literature. I'm your host, Ky Garvey. Thank you for listening. Who's going to the Australian Short Story Festival? It's coming up soon, 22nd to the 24th of November in Fremantle, Western Australia. They have a cavalcade of amazing writing events planned, including writing workshops, panel discussions, interviews, a literary mock debate, and a great deal of fun featuring some of the best short story writers from around Australia and from overseas. I'm thrilled to share my interview with Laura Jean McKay, who will be presenting at the festival. Laura is the author of The Animals in That Country, winner of the prestigious Arthur C. Clarke Award, the Victorian Prize for Literature, the ABIA Small Publishers Adult Book of the Year, and co-winner of the Aurealis Award for Best Science Fiction Novel 2021. The Animals in That Country has been shortlisted for the Stella Prize and longlisted for the Miles Franklin Award. The novel is one of reading's best Australian books of the 21st century. Laura is also the author of Holiday in Cambodia, and her latest collection is Gunflower, shortlisted for the 2024 Queensland Literary Awards and named one of The Guardian's best books of 2023. An adjunct lecturer in creative writing at Massey University, she also serves on the Australasian Animal Studies Committee and the advisory boards for Animal Studies Journal and Headland Literary Journal. She was awarded the NZSA Watangi Day Literary Honours in 2022. I hope you enjoy our chat. Laura Jean McKay, welcome to Totally Lit. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. It's so nice to be here.
You're joining me for a very special episode to chat about the Australian Short Story Festival. Thank you so much for giving me some of your valuable time. Now, that's coming up in Perth in November, and you are a Brisbane-based author, so you'll be travelling across. So that is an awesome opportunity for Perth-based writers to come and learn from you and hear some of your experience. Would you like to share with me what you will be doing at the festival?
Thank you. I'm so excited to be part of this festival. This year, I'll be jetting across to Perth to talk about the weird and wonderful with really amazing writers, Donna Mazza and Rebecca Higgie. I am a huge fan already of Donna Mazza's work, and I'm really excited to find out about Rebecca Higgie's work because we're discussing this strange fiction, weird fiction, how we sort of transgress borders in our short fiction. So that'll be a really, really exciting conversation, I think. And then another one that I'm involved in is an event that I don't get asked to do very much. I often get put in the weird and the environmental panels and the animal panels, which I'm always happy to talk about an animal. But this one is about families for better or worse. We all have them. And I am on a panel with Adam Thompson, who's a First Nations author from Launceston. And I'm really, really excited to be in discussion with him. And also we have Lecky Hopkins, who is moderating that session. And what they want, because I actually contacted the festival and said, I don't normally get put on these panels. Like, what do you want me to talk about? And they said, we just want you to really get into how families work and don't work in your fiction, how characters sort of come up against each other, how you can represent an entire family in such a short space of time. And that's something that I'm really, really keen to get my teeth into, for want of a better word. I don't want to sink my teeth into my family.
No, well, I think you always want to fictionalize those as well in terms of, no, that's not you.
Yes. Everyone always sees themselves in your stories.
A great source of drama and a way to propel your story as well, embedding family relationships in your work. So you're going to be at 2 panels, and I just wanted to flag for our listeners all your amazing awards, but I just wanted to highlight that your novel, The Animals in That Country, was listed as reading's best Australian books of the 21st century. That must have felt really good.
That was incredible. I'm originally from Victoria, and when you come from the country and you finally make it to Melbourne, readings is north. You go to readings. Back in the day, I went there to find share houses on their little clipboard outside. I would stare in the window and look at the books there and imagine myself, maybe one day, being able to afford a book, but then, maybe writing one that would be put in there. And so to have, a bookstore like that or any sort of bookstore to recognize your work in that way is really, really special. It really blows me away, especially as, I do write about, I suppose, subjects that maybe aren't completely normal. I do look at the worlds of animals and our relationships to them. I do sort of unpick the nuances of family. I do talk about feminism and all the different aspects of that. So yeah, it is exciting to have that sort of work recognized.
And listeners, Laura and I have discovered we are both residing in Brisbane at the moment, but I haven't shared with Laura that I was born in country Victoria as well. So I was born in Warragul and grew up for some time in Gippsland. So
I am a Gippsland girl and I lived in Warragul for a little time as well.
I went to Traralgon Secondary College, and we've lived in Warragul, Moe, Traralgon and Sale.
Yes, Sale, Lakes Entrance, Warragul.
How funny. I'll have to catch up on all the awards. I haven't done those things yet, but it is nice to find we've got so much in common.
Certainly, there'll be some people from Gurnai country, Gippsland, who'll be recognising where we're from up there somewhere.
I am digressing a little bit though, because I'm too wrapped up in myself today. So what I'd also like to talk about, there's some great panels for people to come and check out. And if you're an aspiring or emerging author, there's also some workshops that you can go to at the festival for some great learning and tips and tricks on writing. Have you got your eye on any of the workshops for yourself?
Yes, absolutely. The one that I really want to go to is Rashida Murphy's Letting Go Stories That Arrive When You Stop Trying. I mean, what a cool title for a workshop. And this is a session where Murphy guides people to find the stories, and I'm just reading from the text here, that exist on the fringe of awareness. I mean, how cool, we're trying to write, we're just sort of pursuing this goal, and there's these stories that are lurking on the edge. And what are they, and why are we writing them, and why aren't we writing them? And I think, Rashida Murphy is such an amazing literary figure and such an incredible writer, and I just think that would be really, really cool to attend. And the other one, I mean, I'm such a Kate Kennedy fan. I've been a Kate Kennedy fan forever. And so to have, basically the superstar of short fiction in Australia, leading a workshop called It's Not What You Said, It's What You Meant, How to Create Memorable Dialogue and Engaging Sense of Voice in Short Stories. I'm actually doing a lot of dialogue and voice workshops myself elsewhere at the moment. Because I think it's one of the most important aspects of short story writing that people really struggle with. And so to get Kate Kennedy's just wealth of knowledge in this area would be unbelievable. I really want to go to that one as well.
Amazing. That sounds so good. I'm like, oh, where's my plane ticket? I need to fly across and come along.
And there's going to be a price hike after this episode comes out.
Everybody fly to Perth.
Yeah.
Go to the Short Story Festival. And you were at the last festival as well, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So that was my first Australian Short Story Festival, and I didn't really know what to expect, and I don't think anybody could have prepared me, because I have never been in a place where people only talked about short stories for 3 days. There were novelists there were writers of children's fiction, poets, people who had proper jobs and proper families and all sorts of other lives, but pretty much the conversation for 3 days was about short story writing, the craft of it, the importance of it, its place in Australia, its place in global literature. And that is just such an important resource and opportunity to meet other writers and ideas generation. I mean, just from that festival, people were getting together and talking about making new short story prizes and, making links with people that, that always wanted to get to know but had only ever read. It was just a big hug fest, really. Hugs and laughs and dancing.
Dancing. Oh, sounds incredible. I think that's one thing about writers' festivals is they are actually so much fun and there's so much connection. You get to meet fellow authors, and there's the opportunity to meet authors that you wouldn't usually cross paths with either. So the program for the Short Story Festival should be coming out in a few weeks. So I'll encourage listeners to jump onto the website and check out the program when it's released.
Oh, it's so exciting.
What you would like to see and attend, and especially if there's some authors there that you would love to meet. Although please don't mob them all at once.
The line. I know. I mean, I'm so lucky to have a sneak preview at the program in front of me, and I'm just going through with my pen. You know, there's Where To Now, which features contributors to the First Nations anthology of speculative fiction. This All Come Back Now. If you haven't read that book, go out and get it immediately and book your plane ticket to Perth. It's going to be so good. And also last year, and this is happening again, is the literary debate. Last year, that was just so this year it's short story writers versus novelists. And it is going to be feisty and fun. I think Kate Kennedy took her clothes off, not all of them, but, you know, did a bit of a sort of a shirt reveal last time. So who knows?
Also performance art
That's
well
right.
as a debate. There you go. Well, thank you so much, Laura, for joining me today and sharing what will be coming up at the festival and the panels that you will be on. I am hoping that lots of listeners will come along to see you.
Me too. Thanks so much, Ky.
Totally Lit is an independent podcast. You can help support us to continue to chat with wonderful Australian creatives by leaving a review on iTunes or sharing our socials with your friends. You can also make a contribution at www.buymeacoffee.com/totallylit. This will also help with equipment and podcasting platform fees. I love to interact with our listeners, so feel free to say hello either by email or social media. You can email me at totallylitpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter, and sometimes TikTok. Come and join the Totally Lit writing community on Facebook. It's a space to continue the conversation and share your writing successes, events, launches and latest projects. Jump into the group and say hello. Thank you for listening to Totally Lit, and don't forget to go out into the world to read, write, create, ignite.